So today I'm going to tackle some suspension issues on the 88 CRX. One, which is very obvious, is the placement of this wheel. I am unsure if, honestly I don't know what is wrong. I've noticed the rear subframe has a crack in it. The knuckles both seemed fine when comparing them against other ones. But both wheels sit back in the wheel creating negative caster. It's been like this since day one. I've never fixed it. I've had it aligned. Car actually aligns fine. I think the caster is not bad. But it actually drives great. Like when I'm taking it to the track, and the times I've driven on track had to have been at least like 10 events in the last 3 years. But that's what I'm going to work on today. I have a couple replacement subframes here, but when inspecting one, this one, can you see it? It has, right here, I don't know if you can see it, there's some cracks on it right there, so I'm not going to use this one. This one looks much better. There was no physical imperfections just by looking at it, so we're going to get that swapped over. If you want to follow along, it's kind of a tedious process because you have to remove the joint for the steering and just the tie rods, the motor mount. It could be a little bit time consuming, but that's what I have. I have time right now to get some work done on this. That's something I've wanted to fix for a while, and see if we can't get that figured out today.
Zero sugar, RG.
And about 40 minutes later, we got the rear subframe removed. If you guys are considering this job, it's not that difficult. It didn't take me long. Everything came off relatively easily, especially if you have like a ball joint removal tool. If you can get your shift linkage off easily. I have to drop, well, you have to if you're doing this job, take down your shift linkage, and I took off the test pipe right in the middle because that's where it fell through. I have a newer rack right here that I'm going to substitute because this one, I was looking at it, it looks like it still has an original, I guess original decal on there, so it's probably the original rack. Check out the obvious damage. That's bent right there. It looks like it had been repaired before in the past. Over here they must have stripped the hole for the mount, and so just put a long bolt with some nuts there. I could not see anything with this side. Nothing that really revealed itself. But regardless, we have it off. There's obvious damage there. We wouldn't want to reuse this. We're going to get this all swapped out. I think I just need, I don't know if I need the, yeah I do, the sway bar. I took it off the other one. I'm going to take the sway bar off, mount that up. The outer tie rods, those were actually replaced new when I did set the car up a long time ago, and then we'll get the mount put on the new subframe. Let's get that all set and get put back onto the car. And while I'm down here swapping out the subframe, the knuckles are pretty much bare. I just need to remove the axle. So it's a perfect time. I'm going to upgrade to these Buddy Club extended ball joints also. Some people aren't aware of what these do, so let me explain it really quickly. When you lower your car, you effectively change the geometry of the lower control arms. They're now going to be sitting up a little bit higher, and it changes the roll center of the car. when you install a lower ball joint, it helps restore some of that, maybe almost an inch of that geometry, and it helps create a better ride quality overall. So I'm going to throw those on. I have new ball joints on there already, but I've been wanting to see how it feels with an extended set. So I'm going to get those put on and then continue finishing up, bolting up the rest of the suspension. I left a lot off camera while I did all the work. I ended up swapping to an innovative competition traction bar. I had that one donated to me by a subscriber here who also has a small channel, Ambidextrous. Long time ago, probably like 2 or 3 years ago, he hooked me up with that. So I wanted to install that. I just needed to add the hardware. It was missing the front hardware. And with the new subframe on, adjusted the traction bar a little bit. It looks like I pulled it too far forward, so now I'm going to go in there and adjust it. I also noticed that the sway bar looked like it was hitting the radius rod. So I'm going to address that. I just want to see how it fit when I lowered it. And on this side, the wheel, obviously I removed the tie rods and I had to swap them to that newer rack that I had. So I'm going to just try to adjust the wheels a little bit, straighten them out. I'm not worried about it because I am going to get the car lined, and I do have other suspension mods lined up after this video that we're going to work on. But that's where I'm sitting right now. I'm going to get this thing back up in the air, probably adjust those rods just a little bit, move them back, straighten out this wheel, and address that sway bar situation. I'll show you guys what it's looking like under there. With the wheel off, this is what I was talking about for. See how close the sway bar is to the innovative radius rod? There's obviously like 1 or 2 millimeters room. I think I'm just going to remove the bar and just grind down that corner a little bit on both sides. I believe the other side is about the same amount of space. This one actually looks like it's almost touching. I guess I could see a little bit of room. No, that one looks like it's resting on there actually. So I'm gonna grind down the sway bar a little bit, maybe just a hair off of the radius rod. I don't think it'll make a difference there either. And that should amend that issue. This is a DA 1993 Integra sway bar. If you're curious, it might be just bigger at the ends. I don't know if it's similar to a stock bar. I never had a stock bar on with this radius rod. On my friend's car, Chris Winters, a couple years back in the silver CRX, we installed this bar and made a video of it. We didn't have any issues. So he had a stock bar. So maybe there's much more clearance with the stock sway bar on your car. So here on the passenger side, just grinded it down. Obviously I just rounded it off mainly on this corner. There's a lot more room, and I am going to do just a little bit more, probably like another 1 to 2 more millimeters. There's still a ton of material on the sway bar. I do not think it'll make any difference if I take off another millimeter or 2. I just don't want it. Let me see if it goes up. You know, it's never going to be that close. It's still room because it's always going to have the bushings in there. Keep it maybe like right about there. But even when I push it up, it doesn't touch anywhere. So I think, yeah, I'll just clean up a little bit more room and call it a day on these. So I used the grinder, as you saw. Got on the passenger side. I already finished the driver's side. And I created a ton of room for the sway bar. I went ahead and I just kind of masked around it. I painted it black. I also want to see, just in case it rubs, I can tell. So I would have left it bare metal, would have been difficult to tell. So I painted both sides black, but more than enough room on driver's side. And also passenger side. You can see the clearance here. I adjusted the radius rods. I left them loose only so when I take the car to get aligned, I am going to have my alignment guy fix the caster. I want him to set it up perfectly so that way we don't have any wheels with negative caster. I had also, you know, I've filmed it plenty of times, me installing ball joints. I'm trying to save you guys a little bit of time and energy by doing it again, but I just went ahead and installed those Buddy Club lower front ball joints. I'd like to get the honed rear roll center correctors for the trailing arms in the future. It's not necessarily something I plan right now, but I'd like to eventually, and have a little bit more better suspension setup, even some spherical front LCAs, but we'll see where we get next. So I'm finished up for today. Adjusted this side back a little bit. Honestly, looks like it's still sitting forward in the wheel well. We'll get that taken care of when we get it aligned and fixed. I'm not gonna dink around with it anymore. I don't plan on driving the car until I get the suspension mods finished up. This relatively straight, I guess. You know, you can't really eyeball these things. This one actually looks like it sits better in the wheel well. It actually looks like maybe a little bit farther back. It's hard to tell. Like I said, the alignment will take care of that, but everything else went smooth. I'm done for the day. I think I'm gonna wrap it up and move on to some other mods next week. So stay tuned, guys. We will see you soon. And thanks for always tagging along. Take care.